Hey everybody, we have truckers warning people to escape from New York, basically get out of New York before Monday, which is today. So we'll see tomorrow and the days following today, how this actually plays out. But let me give you my take on it. Some people were messaging me about this, and this is basically a lot of truckers. Well, we'll see if it's a lot, but there are some truckers out there threatening to boycott, basically boycott delivering into New York City because of a recent ruling, a court ruling against the former president. So we'll see how big the crowd is of supporters for the president as far as truck drivers go. So let me just play a clip right here, and then we'll get back into my take on how this is all going to play out here.
What's up, fam? So, you guys remember this movie? Kurt Russell. Remember how the area looked in the movie? That's what New York City is going to look like in the next few months. So, there's reports now that the truckers all across this country on Monday will no longer be accepting any loads.
Pause it real quick. Report that truckers all across the country. Does this mean most truckers? So we don't want to paint this with a broad brush, right? I think there's going to be a lot of other truck drivers stepping in because people need the money for the right price. Truck drivers will still take deliveries into New York. So again, I don't think this is going to be as big as some people say. Escape from New York, mass starvation. Well, let's continue to listen to what this gentleman here is saying.
To New York. So, not only have you lost your residence, you also lost your businesses or
Yeah, let's pause it right there. They haven't really lost a lot of residences or a lot of residents because if most people would have moved out of New York, then you would see a lot of vacant properties and you would see prices crashing for homes and for rents. That's not happening. So I don't think they've lost as many residents as this person says. I'm not trying to poo poo on whatever he's saying. I think he does have valid concerns, but I don't think it's going to be as severe as some people think. I could be wrong, but let's continue to listen here.
soon to be losing almost all your businesses. And now you done lost your supply chain. Good luck. I wish you guys the best of luck there in New York in the next coming months.
All right. So if this does play out like this gentleman says, will this actually do any good, right? So starving out the people of New York, is that going to really punish the court system or whoever they're blaming for this judgment against the former president, right? So I don't think it's going to do what was intended, and I don't think it's going to be as bad as many people think because again, there's a lot of people that are desperate, a lot of truck drivers, and people desperate for money. Here's a comment actually right on the side of this video. Kevin says, "Nah, I got bills. I'm taking every load I can get." Um, Here's another comment. When it comes to money, people will choose money to provide for their families. Yes, the truck drivers are going to take these loads if they pay them enough. New York will be fine. 107,000 independent drivers waiting to step in. So these are people that'll probably actually take it for maybe even less than what these other truck drivers were charging. Who knows? But if you're a truck driver, I'd like to hear from you down in comments. To me, delivering to New York, you'd have to get a pretty good payout for that one because the traffic is just insane, especially as a truck driver. And trying to park and deliver these things, you have to park in the street sometimes. I've seen the videos where the trucks are in the middle of the street and they're taking supplies, on the little hand cart, the little dolly, from the middle of the street where they're parked, sometimes through traffic and up the sidewalk into the store. To me, it seems pretty chaotic, but please let me know what you think about that down in comments. Let's listen to a couple other individuals and get their input on how this is going to play out in New York City. All right, we're going to listen here from another truck driver. Take a listen.
It could shut New York City down. And, I don't want to hurt the people of New York. That's not what I'm trying to do. But my part in it, if New York just loses 10%, just 10% of the trucks that go in there, their prices are going to skyrocket on everything from milk to eggs to any type of goods that the consumer needs. And when that happens, it's going to cost everybody more money.
Yeah, but not every truck driver is getting behind Chicago Ray's efforts. Many drivers responded saying that they would not support the former president because he was accused and now he's been found liable.
Okay, so there we go. So we have two different sides of the coin here, two different sides of the spectrum. Again, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how big it is. I don't think it's going to be as big as people think. The worst that can happen is the prices go higher. Well, guess what? Prices have already went higher, and the banks stepped up, and the credit card issuers, the credit card companies stepped up, and they're continuing to extend lines of credit. They're not cutting the credit ceilings, or the credit limits are not being dropped. So people are still able to spend, able to go further into debt. So the price of eggs, milk, whatever, all these groceries, all these items that the truck drivers are threatening to stop delivering, if the prices go up, will it be that much more than prices have already went up? And will it make a difference when the credit card companies and the banks are just going to keep loaning out more money and allow people to go further into debt? We know that that's seems like it's part of the plan is to keep this economy rolling by allowing the banks to continue to do this. This was way different again back in 2008. Banks cut off the lending for a brief period. It was very difficult to get a loan. Credit card lines were dropped. People pulled back on the spending. They were very frightened, mostly out of what happened with the banks. Well, we're in a different world right now, and I don't really see this being a big thing. But please let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know what you think about this down in comments. Some people say this is going to be a massive problem for New York, and that people better get out before it's too late. You know, that's one extreme or one side of things. The other side of things is it's not going to be the other side. It's not going to be anything because there's going to be other truck drivers stepping in. They're going to pay the truck drivers more to get these items delivered. Even if there is a drop off in items delivered, the rising cost is not going to be very noticeable compared to the prices that have already went up over the past few years. Anyways, thought that was very interesting. And I had said here that 2024 was going to be a very interesting year, and we're only in February. So what do we have coming at us for the rest of the year? Well, let's get into some broader economic news here real quick. Let's talk about some more of these weather alerts coming out here for Californians like myself. Quote, almost the entire population of California under weather alerts amid atmospheric river pounding. Unfortunately, all of that rain along the atmospheric river that is literally like a big giant fire hose. So I told you here that I was fine from the flooding, but there had been a lot of flooding here in San Diego. I know friends, coworkers that lost their businesses or had their businesses flooded, had their homes flooded. Most people don't carry flood insurance, so I'm hoping I'll be fine. There's actually a wash right up behind my house, so most of the water that runs down from higher elevations goes into the wash through little streams and little things, around my house. Not so much into my house, but still praying, that everything's going to be okay. A lot of you have warned me to get out of California. Yeah, that's easier said than done, though, when you have family in California, parents now in California, moved out here from Michigan over 20 years ago now, and it's home. So maybe in the future I'll be able to move out, but when you have schools and doctors and businesses set up, it's not that easy just to pick up and move. So I'm going to ride out the storm, literally. Again, I don't think it's going to be affecting my area as much. I'm sort of inland, but there's been some people just within a few miles from me that got affected too. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, that's why we prepare. That's why I've always encouraged everyone to prepare and get ready. So if my home gets flooded, it'll be bad, but it's not the end of the world because I've been preparing. I've got Plan B put away. I've got some, a little bit of money put away for things like this. Flood insurance, that's a whole different topic. So even without that, I think I'll be okay. So thank you for your thoughts and prayers, everybody. But there's a lot of things going on in the world that's bigger than worried about JJ from YouTube getting flooded. Let's talk about the war. War expands. War expands with massive Israeli airstrikes deep into Lebanon. Major attack on major coastal city. I said this is going to be the year of war. 2024, the year of war. And we see these things typically pop up when economies start deteriorating. Now, as far as economic growth goes, there's a big narrative out there that the economy is super strong and surprising everybody how resilient the consumer is. One, the consumer is taking on more debt. Banks are not pulling back on the credit. This is about the debt markets, folks. So this can continue without a major implosion. But two, if you want to talk about economic growth, inflation is actually outpacing what they're saying economic growth is as far as the GDP number, that's gross domestic product. So when inflation outpaces the gauge of economic growth, which is the gross domestic product, look out, folks. That's very, very dangerous. And they can keep the lid on this thing for a while, but how much longer until something, pops up very serious, and we see some sort of failure in the debt market, some sort of debt market implosion, liquidity crisis, or can they just keep pumping money into this thing and not a worry in the world except for maybe rising costs and rising inflation? So let me know what you think about all this, folks. The New York City situation, the truckers, the inflation, the economic growth that's outpaced now by the inflation rate, the wars, and what else did we talk about in today's video? The severe weather in California. If you're in California, I'd like to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Are you battering down the hatches and getting the waterproofing set up for your home? Anyways, I hope everyone's well and hope you have a good week here. We're going to be back ASAP with some more news and economic financial information to give to you. And please make sure you're still subscribed and hit that notification bell for more videos. Talk to you very soon, everybody. Peace.